It's unit 2, shaft, keys and couplings. In this we'll see design of a coupling. In the design of a coupling, we'll see its nomenclature, its design procedure and stresses which will develop in the coupling. Coupling is a device which is used to connect two shafts together at their ends for the purpose of transmitting power. In this figure, you can see this is a motor which is a driving element and pump is a driven element. And here we can see this is the shaft which is connected to motor and this is the shaft connected to pump. And this part is a coupling. This coupling is connecting motor with pump with the help of this driving shaft and driven shaft. So coupling is a device which is connecting motor shaft with a pump shaft for transmitting the power from motor to pump. So, as we have already seen, what is the use of a coupling? To connect the driving shaft to driven shaft for transmitting the power. So, it provides connection of a shaft units which are made separately. Also, they allow misalignment of the shafts or to introduce mechanical flexibility. They also reduce transmission shocks, give protection against overloads, and alter the vibration characteristics. There are various types of coupling like rigid flange coupling, flexible coupling, universal coupling. But in this we'll focus only on rigid flange coupling. Here you can see assembly of rigid flange coupling, and in this rigid flange coupling this is a these are two halves and which are connected with help of nut and bolt arrangement. Here disassembly of coupling is shown. Let us consider this is a driving flange with bolts and this is a driven flange with nut. And here showing all the elements. Here this is a driven shaft, driving flange, driven flange. This extended portion is known as a hub and driven shaft is in contact with driving shaft is in contact with flange hub with a keyway. Keyway is present for a locking purpose. And here there is a driven shaft and driven shaft is in contact with driven flange, and this driving flange and driven flange Both are connected with help of nut and bolt arrangement. Now, when power transmission will takes place, it will takes place from driving shaft to key to hub, and then flange, and through bolts, it will to driven flange, then that is hub of the driven flange, then to key of the driven shaft, and then driven shaft. Okay, now we will see. With the help of this given link, you can see the animation of rigid flange coupling assembly. This is a cross section of rigid flange coupling. This is a front view and this is side view. This is a outer flange. It consists of two halls. This is a portion which is known as the outer rim. This is the thickness of the flange, and extra portion is provided for the protection. If this portion is not there, then this flange is known as unprotected flange coupling, and this portion which is covering bolt, nut and bolt arrangement, it is for the protection. If this protection is not there, it is known as unprotected flange coupling. And if we are using unprotected flange coupling, then there is a chance that nut and bolts can lose, and they can uh, and due to that they will disassemble and they will cause harmful while operation is going on, and so protection is provided over here. This is a hub portion. Hub is nothing but what? Extended portion of the flange arm. This is a hub portion having diameter DH. H for a hub. Capital D is the diameter for the PCD diameter for the bolts. P circle diameter for the bolts. LH is a length of the hub from center position to end position. That is the length of hub. Small d is the diameter of the shaft. Small d is the diameter of the shaft, and d1 is the diameter of the bolt, and do is outer diameter of the flange. These bolts are hexagonal headed bolts are used. So this is the nomenclature which we are going to use while design of a flange coupling. Now we'll see actual design of a flange coupling. It is This is the problem statement. It is required to design a rigid type of flange coupling to connect two shafts. The input shaft transmits 37.5 kilowatt power at 180 rpm to the output shaft through the coupling. The service factor for the application is 1.5. That is, the design torque is 1.5 times of the rated torque. Design the coupling. So, from the problem statement, only three things are known to us: that input is of 37.5 kilowatt power, its speed is 180 rpm, and the service factor for the application is 1.5. And with these three given things, we have to design the flange coupling. For this purpose, now while designing means what? In the case of design, find out the dimensions is the one of the important tasks. But before starting of the calculation, we have to select the material. So while designing anything depends on the output, first we have to select the material for each and every component of the assembly of that machine component. So first we will see step 1 is any design is of selection of materials. As we have seen, flange consists of shafts, key bolts, and flange. So first we will see material for the shaft. As shafts are rotating element, they will subject to torsional shear stress. On the basis of a strength, which material is useful? That is a plain carbon steel of grade 40C8 with SYT 380 Newton per mm square is used for the shaft. And for that purpose, factor of safety is assumed to be 2.5. Then material for key and bolts. Key and bolts. As key and bolts connect, key is in contact with hub and shaft portion, obviously that key will also undergo shear stress and as well as compressive stress. Same thing, bolts are used to connect two halves of the flange, and it will also undergo shear stress and compressive stress. So the keys and bolts are subjected to shear and compressive stress. So on the basis of compressive strength criteria, plain carbon steel grade 30C8 with SYT 400 Newton per mm square is selected for the keys and the bolts. It is assumed that compressive yield strength is 150% of the tensile yield strength, and the factor of safety for the key and the bolts is taken as 2.5. Then material for the flange. Flanges have complex shape. An easiest method to manufacture of the flange is casting, and so gray cast iron with Fg200. That 200 indicates ultimate tensile strength for this material. As cast iron is a brittle material, it will possess ultimate tensile strength, no yield strength. So here it is a grey cast iron Fg200 with ultimate tensile strength of 200 Newton per mm square is selected as the material for the flange from manufacturing consideration, and it is assumed that ultimate shear strength is half of the ultimate tensile strength. And the factor of safety for the flange is assumed as a 6, since permissible stress is based on the ultimate tensile strength and not on the yield strength. So, as it is a brittle material, chances of failure are more. And in a case of yielding of the material, as compared to brittle material, chances of failure are less. So factor of safety is higher in case of a flange as compared to shaft, key and bolts. So it is a 6 as design is based on ultimate tensile strength, not on the yield strength. First, now step 2, find out permissible stresses in the each component. What is mean by permissible stresses? That means safe stress. If stress in that component is going beyond that permissible limit, that component will fail. So we have to find out permissible limit for each component. First we'll see permissible limit for the shaft. In the shaft, shear stress will develop. So tau is equal to shear stress under a yield, that is SSY, shear strength under a shear, SSY divided by factor of safety. It is 0.5 times SYT divided by factor of safety. SSY is 0.5 of SYT. And if we are using distortion energy theory, it will be 0.557 divided into SYT. So here it is half of the SYT, so 0.5 SYT divided by factor of safety. Put the value of SYT, that is a 380, factor of safety is 2.5. Tau permissible for the shaft is 76 Newton per mm square. Now we'll see permissible stresses in keys and bolts. In a keys and bolts, shear stress and compressive stress is developed. So tau, that is the shear stress in the key and bolt, tau is equal to shear strength under a tension, that is SSY, divided by factor of safety is equal to 0.5 SYT divided by factor of safety. Yield strength for a key and bolt material is 400. Factor of safety again 2.5. Put that value over here. Permissible shear stress for keys and bolts is 80 Newton per mm square. Then compressive stress is sigma. Sigma is equal to SYC divided by factor of safety, that is a compressive strength under yield is SYC divided by factor of safety is equal to 1.5 SYT divided by factor of safety, because here it is assumed that the compressive yield strength is 150% of the tensile yield strength. So here it is 1.5 SYT divided by factor of safety. Put the values. Here we will get permissible compressive stress is 240 Newton per mm square. And finally, permissible stresses in a flange. Tau is equal to SSU divided by factor of safety. This SSU is shear ultimate strength under a shear. So SSU, and it is 0.5 times ultimate tensile strength, that is SUT. So SSU is equal to 0.5 times SUT, and divide tau is equal to 0.5 SUT divided by factor of safety. Ultimate tensile strength is a 200, so put that value. Factor of safety is again 2.5, and we got permissible stress in a flange is 16.67 Newton per mm square. Step 3, to find out diameter of the shaft. Diameter of the shaft is by our usual formula that using shear stress developed in the shaft, tau is equal to 16 mt divided by pi d cube, where d is diameter of the shaft and mt is torque or twisting moment in the shaft. Mt is equal to 60 into 10 raised to 6 into kilowatt divided by 2 pi n, where kilowatt is what? Power rating, and n is the speed of the input shaft. Now here surface factor is also given, which is 1.5. So we have to multiply by 1.5. It is equal to 60 into 10 raised to 6. Power rating is 37.5 kilowatt divided by 2 pi into 180. Speed is 180 into service factor 1.5. We got this answer. MT is 2984155.18 Newton mm. Put the value of MT in this equation of shear stress developed in the shaft. Tau permissible for the shaft is 76 Newton per mm square. Put that value and we got the answer. D is 58.48 or 60 mm. Then step 4 is the dimensions of a flange. In a case of dimensions of a flange, these are empirical relationships which are given, and these empirical relationships are here dh, which is a diameter of the hub. dh is a diameter of the hub. All these empirical relationships are in terms of shaft diameter. So once you know the shaft diameter, you can find out all the dimensions of the flange. And here we have all find out diameter of the shaft is equal to 60 mm. So we can find out the dimensions, that is dh is the diameter of the hub, that is equal to 2d. So it is 2 into 60 is 120 mm. LH is length of the hub. This is the length of the hub. Here in this figure, dimensions are also shown. LH is the length of the hub. LH is equal to 1.5D is equal to 1.5 into 60, and that is equal to 90 mm. D, capital D. Capital D is a piece circle diameter for the bolts. So this is a piece circle diameter for the bolts where bolts are mounted. So this is a piece circle diameter of the bolt, and here you can see in a front view this is the position of the bolt. D is equal to 3 into diameter of the shaft. So 3 into 60, that is 180 mm. T. T is a thickness of the flange. This T is a thickness of the flange, and T is 0.5 times the diameter of the shaft. So it is equal to 0.5 into 60 is equal to 30 mm. T1. T1 is a this thickness of the flange. This T1 is 0.25 times the D, and it is equal to 0.25 into 60, that is 15 mm. Then dr is equal to 1.5 times the D, and this is the portion where that 1.5D, that is equal to 90 mm. DO is a outermost diameter or outer diameter of the flange. This is the outer diameter of the flange, and it is equal to 4D plus 2T1. So after that is the thickness of this flange over here, and that is a 4 into 60 plus 15 into 2, that is a 270 mm. So this is the outer diameter of the flange. So all the dimensions are shown in this figure for the flange. Now we have find out the dimensions by empirical relationship, but whether they are safe, that we have to check. If these dimensions are not safe, then we have to increase the dimension. So they will become a safe, because we have find out the dimensions by empirical relationship, but whether they are safe or not under developed stresses, that we have to check. And for that purpose, first already we have calculated MT. Now torsional shear stress in the hub is given by tau into tau is equal to MT into R divided by J. This is a torsional shear stress in the hub. So this is by torsional rigidity formula, that MT by J is equal to tau by R. MT by J is equal to tau by R, where MT is a torque, J is a polar moment of inertia, tau is the shear stress, and R is the radius. According to that, torsional shear stress in the hub, tau is equal to MT into R divided by J. J is a polar moment of inertia for the hub section. So J will be equal to, according to that, it is a pi by 32 dH raised to 4 minus D raised to 4. J for the hub is equal to, it is over here. So you can see inner diameter, this is the outer diameter of the hub, which is a 120 mm, and shaft is inside the hub. So inner diameter of the hub will be equal to 60 mm. So it is a like a hollow shaft. So its polar moment of inertia will be pi by 32 dH raised to 4 minus D raised to 4. After calculating this, I will get it is a 19085.175.37. put value of empty radius of the hub. It is 120 by 2, so it is 60 mm, and we got developed stress is 9.38 Newton per mm square. Now what is the permissible value? Already we have calculated. Or here, stresses in a flange. What is the permissible value of stress in a flange? That is a 16.67 Newton per mm square. Hub is the integral part of that flange. So permissible stress for a hub also 16.67. So tau developed, that is a 9.38, which is less than 6.67 Newton per mm square. So design is safe. Then shear stress in the flat at the junction of the hub is determined by tau is equal to mt into 2 divided by pi dh square into t. So after putting the value, dh is a 120 and thickness is a 30. So after putting this value, we will get tau is equal to 4.40 Newton per mm square. Again, this developed shear stress at the junction of a hub is less than tau permissible, which is 16.67. So this design is also safe because in both the cases, stresses in the flange are within limits. Step 6, to find out diameter of bolts. Here you can see these are the bolts. Here 8 bolts are shown and they are under a shear stress. Okay, as well as there will be a compressive stress. Correct? So as diameter of the bolt is 60 mm, as diameter of the bolt is a 60 mm, as there is a range is given, and according to that we will select number of bolts. It is, if it is in the diameter of the shaft is in the range of 40 to 100, if it is lying in between 40 to 100, the number of bolts will be equal to 4. So according to that, diameter of the bolt will be d1 square is equal to 8 mt divided by pi dn. So d1 square is equal to 8mt divided by pi dn d1. After putting all these values, we'll get d1 is equal to 11.41, and we'll round up this. That is a 12 mm is a diameter of the bolt. We have to check compressive stress in the bolt. That is sigma c is equal to 2mt divided by area of the bolt. Correct. So what will be area? Area will be, because here area will be d1 into thickness into number of bolts and pitch circle diameter of the bolt. As in this case, mt is equal to P into d by 2 into n, where mt is the torque, P is the force acting on each bolt, d is a pitch circle diameter of the bolt. So torque will be equal to, if I am taking only single bolt, torque will be equal to P into radius. P is a force acting on each bolt into radius, that is d by 2, and there are n number of bolts, so mt is equal to P into d by 2 into n. And here, as according to force direction, you can see bolts are subjected to direct shear stress due to the force P and not torsional shear stress. So no torque is acting about the axis of the bolt. So the force P only results in direct shear stress. So tau is equal to P divided by area of the bolt, and that is pi by 4 d1 square. So if we are considering these two, tau is equal to 8mt divided by pi into capital D n d1 square. So you can see over here, tau is equal to 2mt divided by dn d1 into t. And after putting all these values, 2mt already we have calculated. Diameter, pitch circle diameter for the bolt is 180. Number of bolts 4. d1 is 12 mm already we have calculated, that is the diameter of the bolt, and thickness of the flange is 30. So it is 23.03 Newton per mm square compressive stress is developed. And what is the permissible limit? Is 80 Newton per mm square. That means stresses developed are within permissible limit. Then dimensions of the keys. It is from table 9.3 of the Bhandari that we have to find out the standard dimension for these keys, and for a standard dimension So this is the table from Bhandari, and this is a table 9.3 for key dimensions. If shaft diameter is a 60 mm, then we this is the dimension for a flat key. Mainly we use a flat key. So above, you can see over here, above and up to, and key size is given b into h, and keyword depth is also given over here. So above 58 mm shaft diameter and up to 65 mm shaft diameter, key size is 18 into 11 and key depth is 7 mm. Here you can see, uh, in the case of this, shaft diameter is a 60 mm. So it is lying in between 58 and 65. So key size will be 18 into 11 and key depth is 7 mm. So here written from table 9.3, the standard cross section of the flat key for a 60 mm diameter shaft is 18 into 11 mm. And length of the key is equal to length of the hub. Length of the hub already calculated, that is a 90 mm. So L is length of the key is equal to 90 mm. So the dimensions of the flat key are 18 into 11 into 90 mm. And last step to find out dimensions of the key for safety. Shear stress will be developed in the key, and it is given by mt into 2 into dBl. That is the shear area over here. Put the values and we'll get 61.4 Newton per mm square shear stress developed in the key, and that is less than permissible shear stress in the key. Already we have calculated permissible shear stress in the key is 80 Newton per mm square. This 61.4 is less than 80 Newton per mm square, and so it is within limit. And now compressive stress in the key is determined by mt into 4 divided by dBl. Put the values, we'll get over here 200.95 Newton per mm square. In the case permissible compressive stress in the key is 240 Newton per mm square. As it is 240 Newton per mm square, it is so 200.95 is less than 240 Newton per mm square. So in both the cases, that is shear stress developed in the key as well as compressive stress developed in the key, both are within permissible limit. So design is safe. So in the case of designer coupling, you have to find out the dimensions as well as you have to check whether a design is safe under a different developed stresses. So it is the total design procedure with example for design of a coupling.